The planet of time and karma is gearing up to enter the innovative sign of Aries on the 24th/25th of May, and I am here to give you some quick tips on how to align your work ethic with your vision. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Hannah and welcome back, Cosmic Warriors. Before we do dive into today's video, if you want to learn more about astrology, then head on over to the Cosmic Check-In podcast. And if you would like to book a reading with me, then go to hannahselsewhere.com. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's going to be a long one. Let's do this. Okay, so firstly, let's just go over some technicalities, maybe some of the boring stuff, but we gotta do it. Saturn will enter Aries on the 24th or 25th of May 2025, just depending on where you are in the world. But you see, on the 13th of July, Saturn will turn retrograde, and then by the 1st of September, Saturn retrograde will be back in Pisces for one last check-in. And then by the 13th of February of 2026, Saturn will re-enter Aries, where he will stay until April 2028. So as we close out our Saturn in Pisces story throughout 2025, we also open a new story as Saturn enters Aries. So with that said, those of you with late degree Pisces placements and early degree Aries placements, you may find throughout 2025 that you're being pushed away from something and towards something new. A catch and release as something ends and then a new opportunity begins. The ending of a cycle and then the beginning of a new cycle. And as a collective, Saturn retrograde from the 12th of July until the 27th of November 2025 will have us looking over our foundations and our responsibilities. The ending stages within our Pisces house, and then of course those beginning stages within our Aries house. And then those of you with Aries placements, well, throughout the next couple of years, the energy of your Aries placements will be made stronger, sturdier, more durable, as if those placements will stand the test of time. Though, before we get on to what your sign can expect from the move as Saturn enters Aries, I want to just take some time to explore what has been unfolding, okay, within your Aries house. I'm going to take you back. I am going to take you back to 2011, 14 years ago. Uranus entered Aries that year, staying in Aries until around the beginning of 2019. What we experienced as a collective was that of greater independence and individualization. With the rise of social media and its popularity, we saw many people take to the online world and start new projects. The collective grew to confidently express themselves online through the likes of Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. There was this electrifying buzz, this energy rush in the air, restlessness, eagerness, exuberance. Think about the amount of people who questioned the status quo, the ones who rebelled against authority and wanted to forge their own path on social media, maybe wanting to create their own destiny. I know I was certainly a part of that wave because by 2016, I started creating astrology YouTube videos. Even before that, I was on YouTube making videos about different things like fitness, veganism, just having fun creating music videos. Then by 2018/2019, Uranus exited Aries and then the wounded healer Chiron entered. Chiron, of course, will remain in Aries until 2026, 2027, but Chiron's shift into Aries, I think, highlighted the cracks of social media, how it can be used as a way, of course, to inspire, motivate, encourage, spread a positive message, or to inform others, to make them aware. But equally, social media can be used as a way to compete, tear others down, compare ourselves to others. Take the cruelty we see online here, right? Exploitation of children, young people being polluted with violent imagery, with actual imagery at a rapid speed. Consider the arguments, the echo chambers, DEATH threats, just spelling it out for monetization reasons, cancelizations, certain online leaders being targeted, the battles and the debates regarding free speech. You could say that Chiron in Aries has pointed to just how sick our society has become, how separated we are from each other, from genuine human connection, the over-glorification of individuality and hyper-independence. I don't need anybody, right? Or the lack of trust we have in others, in their message. Are they being authentic, or are they labeling themselves as authentic as yet another selling point? We saw the expansion of such matters whilst Jupiter was in Aries from 2022 to 2023. Some would argue that social media, to a large extent, is not so social, but rather it's a case of what's in it for me. Notice the number of content creators, influencers, small business owners, entrepreneurs, even well-known celebrities have a talk show, a podcast, a significant online presence. Then something interesting started to happen as Pluto gradually entered Aquarius, the collective sign, the humanitarian sign of Aquarius. So we are noticing the rise of online collaboration, community, and connecting with like minds. Learning how to truly connect with audiences instead of selling them a pipe dream. The same old jargon no longer works. And if followers so much as sniff inauthentic and unethical practices, they don't want to know. They will take their attention elsewhere because essentially it is our attention that is our currency on social media. Blocking another person today is viewed as a massive dislike, as a rejection, as a desire to no longer speak with someone again. An unfollow can be a sign of not caring or showing indifference. And this doesn't just apply to the online space. No, we see this within our everyday lives. The push for greater genuine connection rather than connection based on me, I. And at the same time, an opportunity to look within ourselves and explore our invalidation or our lack of self-acceptance. Indeed, we have been asked over recent years to step up and lead, to direct ourselves with courage and bravery, even if the next step is scary. Hesitation is also likely, fearing we will get hurt, not wanting to be judged or ridiculed, perhaps not trusting easily either. And whilst the North Node was in Aries throughout 2023 and 2024, many of us took the call. We learned that we have a right to exist, to initiate, to trailblaze, to innovate, and to inspire, but from a place of trusting ourselves, learning to trust others that we really relate to and can connect with, knowing our strengths, being able to address fears of conflict, and exploring our wounds surrounding our identity. By facing our own pain, we are able to meet other people's with curiosity, but also with healthy boundaries and feelings of empowerment. So instead of desperately pushing to achieve, insisting that things go our way, impulsively burning bridges when someone disagrees, or being overly aggressive in order to win, many people are at a point where they can acknowledge the identity and the individuality of others while simultaneously acknowledging their own. This has been a story about honor, virtue, and being brave. I hope you are enjoying this video so far, and if you are, then please be sure to give it a like and subscribe if you have not already. And if you are interested in learning more about astrology, then you can always pick up a copy of my astrology cheat sheets. Thank you so much for watching, and the links are down below. So we arrive at 2025. Neptune entered Aries on the 30th of March. For the first time in our lifetime, we will see powerful new shifts linked to our visions, our fantasies, and our dreams. We could see a new generation of creative pioneers, of passionate artists, perhaps a new generation of movie stars, musicians, poets, novelists, novelists, illustrators, storytellers, scientists, chemists, engineers, inventors, people who will innovate the world and act as trailblazers for the next generation. With Pluto also being in Aquarius, many will be ahead of their time. Visionaries, spiritual warriors, a spiritual revolution is upon us. They will lead the way, urging the collective to learn from their recklessness and from their unnecessary impulsivity. A new generation of healers and guides, people who lead with compassion, with kindness, but they actually show it. Not people who give the illusion of helping or supporting, or this whole notion of what's in it for me, or just so they can fill their pockets. And then as Uranus enters Gemini throughout 2025 and 2026, technological and educational breakthroughs will hopefully get us to pay attention, as if the new generation of creatives can use technology to get their message out there. Indeed, Neptune in Aries will usher in a new dream, a new higher vision, a fresh look. Perhaps we will see the transcendence of identity as we rise above the self and we connect with pure consciousness. We could see groundbreaking discoveries when it comes to the collective unconscious and spirituality, esoteric champions, a holistic view of why we act in certain ways, energy healing, reset, catalysts for change within the mental health sector. However, what is often the case with Neptune is idealism, projection, deception, and trickery. For example, the collective could be overly idealistic or dreamy about their new goals, about the changes they wish to see within the world. Spiritual attacks are also likely, wishful thinking about speed, defense, fighting, violence, and anger. And this right here is where Saturn comes in. Saturn, remember, is the planet of limitation, boundaries, confinement. We learn mighty lessons about our own limitations, how we can make limitations work for us rather than against us, and also how we can face our own limitations if they are super limiting to an extent that maybe we don't act on something or we're very fearful. We also learn valuable lessons about responsibility, work ethic, and overcoming obstacles along our journey. We come to discover that success does not happen overnight, and if it does, we really should question it. We should be somewhat skeptical. Saturn offers us remarkable insights about growing up, life experience, maturity. And if you really want to become an expert within your field, if you want to master a subject or an area, you must be willing to work for it. By putting one foot in front of the other, one day you may find yourself on top of the mountain, seeing that no matter what life threw at you, you didn't give up. Plus, the really cool thing I think about Saturn is that when we do the hard stuff at the beginning, we eventually reach a point when what is our hard becomes easy. And so we're able to speed through our work. We become faster, more agile. Take a professional gymnast, for example. The amount of hours, the lessons, the money spent, the times they felt like giving up at the beginning, the bruises, the wrecked feet. What was once difficult becomes a breeze. And who knows, years later, they may very well be celebrating a victory at the Olympics. Therefore, as Saturn enters Aries, I want you to remember your work ethic, your stamina, your endurance, the importance of being the person who meets your vision with hard work, with grit. Neptune in Aries holds the dream. Saturn in Aries builds it. And the inspiration and the relentlessness of Aries repeats it with powerful hits, with powerful strikes of action, with this I can do it attitude. This is about being a disciplined leader, showing extra caution, accepting delayed gratification, managing your impulses, being less reckless, showing integrity when you push towards achieving your goals, your dreams. Your winning attitude is going to be tested. Yes. Confidence challenges are likely, having to face bullies and people who do not believe in you, and restricted anger, which can create inner frustration. But you see, this is about not letting the haters win, the bullies win. Stepping up to the challenge, being a disciplined and professional creative, not allowing yourself to be tossed and turned by confusion, by deception, okay? To not let yourself be swayed. Oh yes, Saturn in Aries is so much about gaining strength and resilience when we take action, overcoming adversity when we initiate, being honest about times when we keep ourselves back, time to lead with authority and command respect. And at the same time, with Neptune being involved, there may be tension tied to structure and ideals, feelings of uncertainty, struggles linked to making things happen, being misled or redirected, instability and confusion regarding the next step. But when both Saturn and Neptune can work together, oh yes, this is when the magic happens. And this right here leads me on to the Saturn-Neptune Conjunction, which will occur February of 2026. On one hand, we have Saturn, who is all about structure and building. But then on the other hand, we have Neptune, who is all about dissolving boundaries and limitations. And so some important points to note as Saturn and Neptune closely link throughout 2025 and 2026 is how to both allow for times of determination and relaxation, times for reality checks and facing the hard stuff, but also times of self-forgiveness and going easy on ourselves. To appreciate the leadership push of Aries and the building of our confidence, but equally sensing when we have pushed ourselves too far. Times when we're not so energetic, being self-compassionate, trusting in a slow-moving process of things, and holding ourselves accountable for our actions as we are led down a more spiritual path. This is about both our material and spiritual growth, seeing how both are to be supported. As Neptune softens the harshness and the sternness of Saturn, Saturn can help Neptune to not give into victim mentality. We can also then use the healthy caution of Saturn to see through any illusions and con artists. If someone tries to sell you a quick fix during Saturn's stay in Aries, see that it is most likely too good to be true. Indeed, we can use the discernment of Saturn to identify the truth, even though the lines are blurred and the road ahead feels foggy. At the same time, perhaps some healthy delusion can help us go after our goals, right? After all, many people who are uncertain about the next step, they grow to be successful. And I think also Neptune can assist us with spiritual guidance and direction. We can build boundaries from a place of compassion and emotional insight. Essentially, Saturn in Aries says, you must work to achieve your dreams. Now, as Saturn moves away from Neptune around 2027 and onwards, we will continue to build within our Aries house without the fogginess and the haze of Neptune then involved. Hopefully our direction will be much clearer, right? As if the cloud above the mountain dissipates, and so we can see the view from above much better. And when we look down at what we have built up until that point, hopefully we will see material success, leadership strength, creativity upgrades, and significant project growth. I guess it all depends on how we work with the energy and what else is happening in your chart, of course. Plus, hopefully the lessons of Neptune will live on through our accomplishments and our achievements within our Aries house, such as drawing from our intuitive gifts and our healing powers. Moreover, I would also like to inform you about how Jupiter in Cancer will create a challenging square to Saturn and Neptune around June of 2025. So let's just touch on it here. See, Saturn is in detriment in Aries, and then Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. And so there may be a few fears that come up when it comes to initiating ourselves while Saturn is in Aries. Our patience may be tested, and we just might be overly cautious at times. Hopefully we can trust ourselves instead of avoiding responsibility, instead of escaping our problems or burying our head in the sand, right? Hopefully we can face them. Equally, with Neptune involved, it is important to rest and to listen to our intuition. But then as for Jupiter in Cancer, we are presented with opportunities for emotional growth. Just as a reminder here, Jupiter will enter Cancer June time of 2025 for a year. We'll also be then presented with opportunities to really look at our moral compass, right? So seeing how our moral compass will point towards safety and emotional security, towards family, home, our roots. This is about creating optimism through creating a comfortable space, showing kindness and generosity to loved ones, seeing our world expand when it comes to domestic matters. However, with the square between Cancer and Aries, it appears as if friction is up ahead, okay? Some tension regarding self and family, individuality and home, personal responsibilities and goals versus our relationship with loved ones. It is also an energy of playing it safe versus taking a risk and going for it. Being overly hesitant and cautious just might get in the way of us pushing ourselves towards our family aspirations, or having to own up to our actions is necessary before we can move forward with a new security opportunity. Now, with that being said, being emotionally manipulated is probable, others tugging on our heartstrings to get us to bend to their will, possibly giving up a passion to support someone else, maybe a family member who needs extra care, extra help. And then in the mix, we feel disillusioned, confused, unsure, foggy, as if we're not fully present in our body. Therefore, this is why it'll be so important to come back to center, to not let ourselves get carried away by the tides of emotional inconsistency. And so this is about allowing for both supporting loved ones and taking responsibility for ourselves. This is about our inner strength and our resilience. After all, both Aries and Cancer are cardinal signs. They are leaders, they are determined, doers, go-getters. They can also be defensive and very sensitive, and so feelings are likely to get hurt no matter what path we choose, right? Someone's going to be upset no matter what we decide to do. And the lesson in that is that whilst we can show support, we're not responsible for the emotions of others. Allow for both autonomy and nurture to coexist. Now, before we do move on to your horoscopes, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge Saturn and Neptune's stay in Pisces. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011 and then will exit at the start of 2026. And Saturn has also been in Pisces since March 2023 and will exit at the beginning of 2026. I think Neptune and Saturn, well, they have been supportive for us spiritually and energetically as a collective. Many have explored their shadows, their unconscious limitations, and their deepest fears. Many have also been open to the mysteries of life, to the unknown, to their spiritual gifts. Of course, we have seen the rise of spiritual topics, healing practices, social media influence, and people working through their addictions. Mental health has also been discussed more openly. Many are building spiritual communities. People are using creativity as a form of healing and support. The mystical has grown to be more practical and tangible, and those who are shady and distrusting are being called out. And even though the path ahead has been incredibly unclear, the North Node in Pisces throughout 2025 asks us to keep walking forward. We might not be able to see in the dark, but it's about trusting and believing, taking practical steps, even if the results we look for are not so visible. There are forces bigger than us that are perhaps working in our favor. After all, you do not know what is around the corner, and that is the beauty of the unknown. It's also the pretty scary thing. And so, when Saturn and Neptune exit your Pisces house by 2026, all will be revealed. Which, by the way, you're going to get a taste of what that looks like throughout the summer of 2025. All right, so now I have given you this breakdown of Saturn in Aries. Let's move on to your horoscopes, and I want to say thank you so much for watching. First up then, we have Aries. Aries, the Saturn transit invites you to take things seriously when working towards your aims and goals, your ambitions. And these goals must be considered for the long term. A few years of building and putting in the effort so that you can make your dreams a reality. You might have a vision about the next big step you wish to make, and so you'll be tested as you push to succeed. Such matters will also speak to your career path, your social standing, networking, your future aims. This is about working with patience rather than fighting against it. Your Saturn karma really depends on the quality of how you take the lead, how you face new situations, and how you manage your impulses. This is about being a leader with integrity as you assert yourself, Aries. It is time to get your game face on. Thank you, Aries. Moving on to Taurus. So Taurus, the Saturn transit invites you to make more time for the spiritual and to devote yourself to healing, recovering, or removing yourself from unhealthy group dynamics that no longer align with you. This is a period of ending, privacy, greater contemplation, restoration, and transcendence. Such as transcending the part of you that feels like you need to push, do, and be active all the time, particularly within groups and communities and organizations. And then any unhealthy ways of escaping will be addressed and worked through, as well as addictive tendencies. Through such experiences, you will be called to be a leader, a brave spiritual warrior. Now, it's also a great time for creativity refinement and working with your imagination practically. Such matters will involve higher education and advanced training, as well as your professional life. Your Saturn karma then depends on the quality of your rest, how you surrender, and how you manage any feelings of helplessness, Taurus. Thank you, Taurus. Moving on to Gemini. Gemini, the Saturn transit invites you to show up as a responsible figure and leader within communities and groups you're a part of, to take a stand when directing the group, or to prioritize quality over quantity within friendships, for example. This is about longevity and integrity. So the longevity within a team or a group, or the integrity that you show. And also we think about longevity related to a future aim. Integrity related to a future aim. Big gains can be made when you put in the work and time, when you have the audacity to build the dream and make it a reality for yourself. And then such a dream is tied to your career, your reputation, your social image, your brand, possibly your business. And this is about investing in your future by being brave and honorable, by showing virtue and not giving up easily. Such matters might also involve joint business ventures, shared resources and wealth, big investments, teaching, broadcasting, seeking to expand yourself, especially within your networks. Perhaps you will learn that strength is found in numbers. And so your Saturn karma really depends on the quality of your future aims, how you forge your own path and rebel, and how you unite with the group as you push forward with a collective vision, Gemini. Thank you so much, Gemini. Moving on to Cancer. So Cancer, the Saturn transit invites you to be bold and courageous, okay? So to be this bold and courageous leader amongst the public, and when it comes to the moves you make within your profession. This is about strength, honor, and virtue. How you direct your path career-wise. Gaining status and being successful are possible outcomes here, but this is also about how your efforts are perceived by the public, by members of authority, by your boss, your manager. Perhaps you'll strive for a more creative role, or you'll be rather idealistic. The public may also view you as quite dreamy in part, or as wise and spiritual, as if you seek to level up professionally. This is about the effort you put in, the time you invest, the respect you have from others, being seen perhaps as a dedicated person, especially if you do run your own business. Perhaps this is also about being recognized for your qualifications, for your knowledge, your teachings, or this is about taking on a new training program. Such matters might also include business deals, partnerships, as well as psychological transformation and joint financial planning. Your Saturn karma really does depend on the quality of your reputation, how you show up professionally and within business, and how you build slowly and steadily towards achieving a long-term goal, Cancer. Thank you so much, Cancer. Now moving on to Leo. So Leo, the Saturn transit invites you to consider the long term when making travel decisions, such as moving abroad, relocating, organizing a longer trip. You may wish to build and make things happen. This could be going on the adventure of your dreams or exploring unknown territories that are massively spiritual or religious. This might also manifest as pushing yourself academically, such as joining that course, which might take a few years to complete, or attending a course which can assist you spiritually. Could be a case of adding to your metaphysical credentials here, Leo. Devoting yourself to your morals and your ethics is also very much likely, or to your philosophical views. A time for self-exploration and asking yourself the bigger questions in life, which quite honestly could be brought on due to a significant loss, an ending, or a transformation. Such matters might also involve work, your health, your relationships, or your business partnerships. Relocating for work purposes, for instance, or moving due to the ending or the beginning of a relationship. Though your Saturn karma depends on the quality of your higher mind, how you share, publish, broadcast, and teach, and how you show integrity and virtue with respect to your world views. Thank you so much, Leo. And now moving on to Virgo. Virgo, the Saturn transit invites you to build strategically and patiently when it comes to matters that involve other people's money and resources, such as paying off significant debt, getting yourself out of the red zone financially, or making sure you keep on top of major investments and joint financial ventures. Perhaps you start a new partnership or agreement, and it is the kind of business relationship you have dreamt of. But it is also important to be cautious, to take your time. Go in with your eyes open. Naturally, this might also be about a committed relationship, such as getting married, showing commitment, possibly getting divorced. Could even be a case of having to manage shared assets and resources following a divorce or a breakup. Now, on the other hand, we also see new projects tied to the psychological and the metaphysical. For example, you devoting more time to tarot, witchcraft, astrology. A beneficial time also to work with your shadow, your unconscious. Such matters might then also involve your daily practices, rituals, your health, your free time, children, romance, fun. Your everyday habits are in for a major change. And your Saturn karma depends on the very quality of your transformations, how you take responsibility and ownership within joint financial areas, and how you show honor when it comes to intimacy and trust. Thank you, Virgo. And now moving on to Libra. So Libra, the Saturn transit invites you to consider the long term in relation to your one-to-one relationships and partnerships, such as your responsibilities and your commitments, who you are responsible for or to, how you wish to build and solidify business agreements, deals, contracts, possibly starting a new business venture or committing to a new plan with your spouse or your significant other. Naturally, things may feel quite dreamy and foggy. Being idealistic is likely as well. And also being disappointed when things do not go according to plan. And if you are working through a separation or a divorce, trying to get your things in order may require some extra caution and effort. It is also advised that you show healthy caution and patience within your relationships just overall here, Libra. Such matters might then involve home obligations and responsibilities, holiday time, time spent with children, romantic relationships, maybe making time for your partner, for example. Though ultimately here, Libra, your Saturn karma depends on the quality of your one-to-one partnerships, how you show integrity when negotiating, and how you make things happen maturely when building with another. Thank you, Libra. Now moving on to Scorpio. So Scorpio, the Saturn transit invites you to actively make a conscious effort regarding your health, your daily practices, and your services. Perhaps you make a long-term commitment to a new job situation, or you wish to work up in some way to gain a certain degree of respect and recognition, or to seek to prioritize your health and your well-being, which might involve diet, nutrition, fitness, rest, self-care. Setting healthy boundaries and limits are very much advised here. Perhaps you even wish to get into shape or have the body of your dreams, or it's that you want to make an everyday activity long lasting. But essentially, your health is being brought into focus here, Scorpio, and that can play out in many different ways. And this is also about the practical steps you put in place. This is about overall refinement and improvement. It could also be a case of having to fix a ton of things, having to attend to daily matters responsibly. And such matters might also involve helping out a sibling, learning how to drive a new vehicle, building on a subject you're interested in, making a change on social media, or attending to your home and family life in many ways. But essentially, your Saturn karma depends on the quality of how you spend each day, how you show up practically and productively, and how you manage your time. Thank you so much, Scorpio. And now moving on to Sagittarius. All right, so Sagittarius, the Saturn transit invites you to make more time for your creative projects and hobbies. If, for instance, you have an interest in a spiritual hobby or a creative hobby, you will be asked to build and put in the effort. This is about devoting your time to learning from any setbacks, any obstacles. Then again, this might also manifest as you showing up for your children if you have any, such as spending more time with them or making the relationship you have with them a major priority. Likewise, greater commitment within your romantic relationships, very much likely. Another possibility, though, is making more time for fun, play, and enjoyment. So actively putting limits in place so you can entertain yourself. Could also be a case of work being enjoyable, though I also think a big part of this is about rest and relaxation. Such matters might also involve how you earn money, such as the money you earn from your creative projects, or such matters may include your skills, your talents, how you advertise, how you market, how you write, right? And hey, maybe a big part of this is connecting with your inner child, Sagittarius, though essentially your Saturn karma depends on the quality of your free time, right? Your time off, how you show up creatively, and how you build romantically. Thank you, Sagittarius. And now moving on to Capricorn. So Capricorn, the Saturn transit invites you to take on greater responsibility at home and amongst your family members, to devote more of your time to your home and your family life. This can manifest as supporting a loved one through something difficult or having to make hard decisions about the next step within your family. Or maybe this is about greater self-sufficiency and independence, such as needing a space of your own or making long-lasting decisions about the future of your home, where you live and how you live. Big life-changing decisions are up ahead, Capricorn. We think about major new aims and goals, new ways of doing things and showing up within the world, identity shifts and changes. But at the same time, do be mindful of being overly idealistic and impractical, getting carried away by a dream, a family dream, a living situation dream. Though equally, we do see the new chapters tied to your emotional needs here, to your emotional well-being and security. Getting the house of your dreams could very well happen, right? Decorating your home in a way that is personal to you, taking charge of important tasks and duties. And such matters might also involve your finances, your belongings, your spending habits, how you provide for yourself and others, maybe having to really manage your finances here. So for instance, this might manifest as saving for a mortgage, renting a new property, saving for furniture, sorting out your finances so you can support your family. Overall though, your Saturn karma depends on the quality of your home life, how you support yourself emotionally, and how you manage family responsibilities and obligations when they arise. Thank you, Capricorn. And now moving on to Aquarius. So Aquarius, the Saturn transit invites you to communicate and speak with greater authority, virtue, and directness. This is about being a bold and confident communicator, someone who knows what they are talking about and how your words influence and impact others around you. Or this could also be about the wording that you use on social media, or how you advertise your business, how you market yourself online. The kinds of social interactions you have will particularly matter during this transit. How you empathize with others as well, and how you stir up emotion within others. Your writing, your speech, and your delivery will be strengthened provided you put in the work. Also, it could be a case of living in the area of your dreams or learning to drive the vehicle of your dreams. And such matters might also involve your spiritual practices, your intuition, how you spend time alone, the quality of your rest, your appearance, and your ambitions. Though, essentially, your Saturn karma here, Aquarius, depends on the quality of your education and learning, how you connect the dots and form conclusions, and how you speak with honor and virtue. Thank you so much, Aquarius. And then moving on to lastly, Pisces. So Pisces, the Saturn transit invites you to build and solidify within your financial areas of life, such as making a long-term saving plan, budgeting well, being mindful of how you spend your money, what kinds of items do you prioritize. Perhaps you wish to save for the materials or security of your dreams. You'll be somewhat idealistic about your wealth. Equally, a part of this does involve being open to receiving while still putting in the work. This is about committing yourself to new investments, new money plans and projects, providing possibly for your loved ones, and being responsible. Of course, this could also manifest as devoting yourself to your skills or to your talents, your gifts, making an effort and pushing yourself to go after your goals there. And so such matters then might also involve your future hopes and dreams, your collective visions, making a difference in the world, and what you wish to build within your communities. How you spend your time alone, seeking to retreat and relax well. Though overall, your Saturn karma depends on the quality of your financial decisions, how you work with your resources, and how you build yourself up when it comes to your self-worth and your self-esteem. Thank you so much, Pisces. And with that being said, everybody, this has been the video all about the upcoming Saturn in Aries transit. We've explored your horoscopes. We have broken down the astrology. I hope that this video has prepared you for Saturn entering Aries and that you learned something new. And if you did, of course, find it to be helpful, if you learned something new, you can always buy me a coffee. And if you haven't already, just a reminder, make sure to subscribe, give the video a like if you did like it today. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you. Stay tuned for more, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.